Okay, welcome everyone. This is the September 2014 members meeting for the Eclipse Foundation. We've got a couple of speakers here today to talk to you. Let's see if I can get my controls going. There we go. So my name is Andrew Rotz. I'd like to welcome you. Our first speaker will be Mike Milinkovich, who's the Executive Director of the Eclipse Foundation. So he'll be updating you on a number of interesting operational things and events and working group activity at the Eclipse Foundation. James Conklin from CCRI will be introducing their company and some really interesting technology that they're developing over at CCRI. And Wayne Beaton, who's our Director of Open Source Community, will be updating you on some project activity, simultaneous release, and some interesting dashboard technology that we've been developing. So with that, I'm going to turn the keyboard over to Mike Milinkovich.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining today, or later on the video recording. So I'll be giving a quick update of what's been going on at the Eclipse Foundation over the last quarter. So we'll be talking on membership, we'll update on the finances, working groups, and talk about our upcoming events. So in terms of membership, membership continues to grow and grow quite well. Obviously very pleased about that. Our overall membership is at 216, which is the highest it's ever been, and particularly happy to see a steady increase in the number of solutions members. We're now at 111, which is a great number. I think that puts the Eclipse Foundation on a very solid and sustainable financial footing. So just wanted to call out a couple of the new members since we last spoke. So Canonical, which is the company behind Ubuntu, I'm sure everyone is familiar with that, has joined. They're very interested in getting involved with our IoT working group. Wanted to talk a little bit about the automotive companies that just recently joined. So Volkswagen Group of America, well, the Volkswagen Group in general, and Daimler AG. Both joined because of their interest in supporting the new Open MDM working group, which I'll be talking about later. And then Deutsche Telekom and let's see who else, and several others, and I'm trying to think of who else is there. Also joined because of the IS2T joined because of the IoT working group. I should also mention that there's a number of other companies that joined because of Open MDM. I'm thinking of Science and Computing, Gigatronics, Bertrand, are all examples of companies that joined because of Open MDM. So, welcome to all, and but we're also, of course, very happy to see this steady growth in terms of companies adopting our collaborative working groups as a way of approaching open source. And in particular, I wanted to call out Code Envy. They are just recently joined as a strategic developer member and have proposed the Eclipse Che project, which is a very interesting addition to the collection of technologies in our web IDE technologies. So they'll be joining Orion and Flux as part of the overall approach that we're going to have within the Eclipse community around doing development via the browser or the cloud, if you will. So very happy to welcome Code Envy as a strategic developer member. So financial updates. There really has been nothing that's changed since the last meeting. So our expectation is still that our revenues will be about 4.3 million overall. Expenses are still budgeted at 4.9. We do expect that our expenses will come in below that, and that our net loss for the year will be less than the 600,000 currently budgeted. But that is the budget that we're working to, and of course we're going to work to bring that in closer to a break-even scenario by the end of the year. Okay, now switching to the working group updates, I just wanted to first start off by welcoming the Open MDM group. Touched a little bit in terms of their particular focus on automotive, but the founding companies, the ones that are, first of all, the ones that are driving this are primarily Audi, BMW, and Daimler. The Open MDM group comes from a consortium that was led by Audi for a number of years before they decided to move it to Eclipse. So Audi in particular is one of the companies that's been investing in this area the most. Others that have, and some, including some that I've mentioned earlier in terms of signing up, but participating includes Gigatronic, Canoe, Peak Solution, and Science and Computing. So welcome all of them. Additional members include Peterian and Bertrand AG of Germany, and very happy to say that their first project has been proposed, approved, and provisioned over the last couple of months. So the MDM at Web project, which provides a web-based interface for accessing large databases of measurement data, has been approved. And just to touch a little bit on the technology area, MDM stands for Measured Data Management. And so what this group is really working on is solutions for dealing with the complexities and scale of managing the very large databases of test and measurement data that results from building, maintaining, and maintaining cars, automobiles over their life cycle. So this is a very interesting new technology, and it's another example of Eclipse and open source making forays into the world of industrials, and it's great to see that these companies are adopting and learning about open source as a solution to their issues. Moving now to the automotive working group. So a couple of familiar names there, again, in the automotive space. So BMW is an overlapping with a member between the automotive group and OpenMDM. Also included are Bosch and Continental, Itemis and Intex on the steering committee. There's continuing work there. Probably one of the big pieces of news is one of the work packages that the automotive working group wants to focus on is the Amaltea project, which is an ITEA 2 or 3 program funded in Europe for doing tools for multiprocessor development with a particular emphasis on the needs of the automotive industry. And the funding for that project has been recently approved, and so that will be being worked on as a work package within the automotive working group. Upcoming is the EclipseCon Europe workshops and project creation review for the new Trace Compass project. Long-term support working group. Recruiting continues to be a major focus for the group. As you can see from the logos on there, they are making some progress, and certainly in terms of recruiting participating members. Upcoming is going to be exploring the applicability of the long-term support group to the needs of industrials in areas like rail and energy, and perhaps even the OpenMDM group. And there's some existing, some ongoing infrastructure work to make sure to provide the LTS Forge with the ability to have its own unique digital signature. Moving on now to the IoT or Internet of Things working group. So new members and projects. New members, Deutsche Telekom, Canonical, and IS2T. So welcome to all three of those. Deutsche Telekom announced, by the way, over the summer that they are going to be moving their Kivicon home automation platform over to the Eclipse Smart Home project. So it's great to see the adoption of that Eclipse project by Deutsche Telekom. And the major new project proposal is the Leshen project. You can see that and read that on our proposals page. And it's an implementation of the OMA lightweight M2M protocol, primarily focused on the server side of implementing that protocol. So this is a continuing extension of the technology portfolio we have in IoT. So very happy to welcome Leshen, which is, by the way, led by some folks from Sierra Wireless and with participation from Bosch Software Innovations. So it's great to welcome Leshen to the Eclipse IoT family. So there's been some outreach that's been going on over the last quarter. So there's a new virtual IoT meetup that's being sponsored by the group. Currently, they're planning on doing 8 webinars over the next little while, so I would encourage you to join those meetups and/or look at the recordings later. We're participating in a design challenge sponsored by Element 14, which is a very large electronics parts industrial, and who's getting into sort of the maker or hobbyist community as well. So they're doing a design challenge that's based on Eclipse Smart Home to see what people can do in the area of home automation with the Eclipse Smart Home project. And also encourage everybody to join the bi-weekly Google Hangouts. So if you want to learn more about what we've got going on at IoT, then I think that would be a great opportunity for you to do so. So some speaking engagements that have happened. Benjamin Cabet talked at IoTCon in Berlin and the IoT World Forum in Marseille. I spoke last week at the IEEE IoT workshop in San Francisco. San Jose, I should say. And upcoming next week is Java 1, and we're going to be talking a lot about the IoT projects that we have that are implemented on top of Java and OSGI in the context of the Java 1 conference. So that's going to be, next week is going to be quite a big opportunity for us to get the message out about the cool technology we've got at Eclipse in IoT. And at Java 1, we're going to be launching our open IoT stack for Java, so look for a press release coming up next week talking about this. So we're focusing very much on connecting and managing devices for building IoT solutions. So we'll be doing demos. We'll have a booth there, and we'll be doing demos. Benjamin Cabet has a number of talks. I have a talk with him as well on Monday. So it looks so we should get some good uptake and recognition of the work that our projects have been doing. And so primary focus of the IoT stack for Java is to make it easier for Java developers to start building IoT solutions with the Eclipse IoT technologies. Next up is location tech. Continuing to grow the group of companies that are involved in location tech. So the big news for this more recently is that we've 4 live events and a webinar recently happened. We've got 2 new members, the University of Calgary and CCRI. CCRI will be introducing themselves and their project shortly on this call, so welcome CCRI. And we have a group of 30 Open Academy interns working on location tech projects and technologies, and so that's a great way to for us to help these projects get some young students, helping them out, building some of their projects out and adding features that they might not have otherwise had time to do. Upcoming is the Location Tech Tour 2014, 16 cities around North America and Europe. We already have 580 registrations, so that's pretty exciting. So if you are interested in participating, speaking, or sponsoring, visit tour.locationtech.org. You can see that's looks like quite a great spread of locations and events, and Andrew's done a great job of helping organize this. Our recently announced science working group, they've been busy as well. So one new member over the last little while, IFP Energies Nouvelle, I assume from France, and they had a collaboration session hosted at Oak Ridge National Lab in the U.S. between the ICE and DONSAI projects, and I saw some of the reports and conclusions that came out of that, and I have to say that it sounded like a great session, and the 2 projects learned a lot about each other and what they're doing, and have come up with a long list of great ideas for how they can collaborate in the future. So expecting to see great things from the science working group over time. PolarSys, lots of new projects happening there. So the Capella project in particular, I want to call out, is coming from Thales and Obeo. So this is a system engineering tool built on top of Sirius and the Kit Alpha projects. And Capella is very interesting and large new introduction to systems, not system for doing systems engineering. So this is actually quite a big deal for the Polarcis group. The Titan project is another one that I know a little bit about. It's from Ericsson. It's actually a very large and very mature code base. They're bringing on something on the order of 1.2 million lines of C code and a couple of 100,000 lines of Java code to Eclipse as part of the Titan project. For providing a full tool chain and implementation of the TTCN testing language, which is broadly used in a number of different industries. So expecting great things from that project over time. So 2014 initiatives, doing maturity assessments, and there'll be a workshop on that topic at EclipseCon Europe, and creating data sheets for some of the higher level Polarcis projects. So working towards that and making those data sheets available. Polarcis is going to have a large presence at EclipseCon Europe. So there's talks about a number of projects: Titan, Trace Compass, Sirius, Capella, maturity assessment, and other Polarcis projects. They'll be engaged with the Unconference, which is on the first day, or sort of the day before the official beginning of EclipseCon Europe. So looking forward to seeing Polarcis at EclipseCon Europe. And speaking of EclipseCon Europe, so we'll be talking about 3 conferences, and this is the next one that we have coming up, the last week of October, 28th to 30th. Typically, as per the tradition of EclipseCon Europe, a great technical set of topics, and with particular focus on INT and embedded. There's going to be an IoT playground. Apparently somebody has trademarked Maker's Fair, so we couldn't call it that. So there's going to be an IoT playground where people are going to demonstrate what they're working on, the kinds of things that they're building. Pirates and Modeling Summit, Project Quality Day, and BPM Day. So looking forward to having those theme days at Eclipse. The keynotes that we've got lined up look great, actually. So we've got a speaker. I am probably, unfortunately, going to not do justice to his name, but Markin Jakubowski, doing a talk on open source ecology. Andy Stanford Clark, who is the inventor of the MQTT protocol, will be doing a talk on IoT and how it starts from your own home. And then Georg Herman from Devolo is going to be doing the OSGI invited keynote. As once again, we'll be co-hosting the OSGI community event with EclipseCon Europe, and welcome the OSGI community to our event in Ludwigsburg. So I hope to see everybody there. EclipseCon Europe is one of the highlights of our annual calendar here at the Eclipse Foundation, and looking forward to seeing everybody there. Next up is EclipseCon North America 2015. So please save the dates, March 9th to 12th, 2015, at the same location as last year at the Hyatt Regency Burlingame by the San Francisco Airport. We're going to be talking a bit about the fact that we're co-located with Phosphor-G North America. Special theme days that have already been set aside for the EclipseCon North America. There's an IoT Day, Xtext, return of the ever-popular and successful CDT Summit. There's going to be a Science Day and a Polarcis Day. Martin Lippert of Pivotal has stepped forward to be the program chair. Martin, of course, is a very well-known guy in the open source community, and we really thank him for putting the time and effort into acting as our program chair for the conference. The call for papers is going to start October 1st. As usual, there will be an early bird selection, so get your talk proposals in early. And the sponsorship packages are now available, and if you're interested in being a sponsor, please contact Perry Laverne at that email address. Co-located with EclipseCon is going to be the Phosphor-G, which is one of the most well-known geospatial conferences, and it's going to be a collaborative event by the OSGeo organization and the Location Tech Working Group at Eclipse. So want to just extend a warm welcome to our friends and colleagues from OSGeo to attend the Phosphor G event, and looking forward to seeing how these two audiences mix at the Hyatt Regency in Burlingame. It should be a lot of fun. And with that, I'll turn the keyboard back over to Andrew, and he can help get James from CCRI all set up for doing their new member introduction.
Great, thank you, Mike. So I'd like to welcome our next speaker, James Conklin from CCRI. Jamie and his team have been working with us for a while on the GeoMesa project, so it's a great pleasure to invite him here today and to speak. So I'm just going to turn the microphone over to him, make sure he's all set up. So there we go. To give a little bit of an interesting effect when I switch my screen. Where'd it go? There we go.
So can you hear me? I've unmuted it at this point.
Okay. So take it away, Jamie. I think I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. Well, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, actually. My name is Jamie Conklin. I'm the Director of Operations at CCRI, and we're a small business, and we've been in operation since about 1992, and the predominance of our work has been in building data fusion analytics and solving challenging problems using analytical techniques. And I'm going to give you a few minutes about who our company is and what we've come up doing, and then I'll talk more about GeoMesa, which I'm sure most people are more interested in. But in order to do that, we've sort of developed three core competencies. One is in problem solving, so taking a step back, understanding the specification of the actual problem, and really working with people to address the root problems. And then building analytical techniques, whether they be data fusion, simulation optimization, predictive modeling. All of these sort of different types of analytics can be used to solve different kinds of problems. And so we have a lot of expertise in building these analytics. And then finally, in the implementation piece, we pride ourselves in being fairly end-to-end. So that is that we can design analytics. We've got lots of statisticians and expert data miners. In fact, the company itself was founded by Don Brown, who's a professor of systems and information engineering at UVA, and he leads the Virginia Data Science Institute, which is a UVA initiative. But as I said, we pride ourselves on being end-to-end, so not only can we design and implement these analytics, but we can also do all of the software around them. So this includes building user interfaces, backends, and this brought us to cloud infrastructure. The story behind GeoMesa, which I'll get to in a little bit, is that we had built a threat prediction tool where we could predict the location of, say, future crimes, or in the case of the Army, IEDs in Iraq and Afghanistan. We had this tool implemented using PostGIS, one of our favorite tools, but then they moved to the cloud, and they were going to use Accumulo, and PostGIS was not even going to be a part of the stack. And so we had to re-implement the system from the ground up. And what we found was that there was absolutely no spatial infrastructure that we could use or leverage in the cloud. And so we've been spending the last few years learning a lot about implementing these analytics in the cloud, as well as some of the infrastructure pieces. This is meant to be emblematic of some of the kinds of problems we solve. Up in the top left, you'll see the threat prediction tool that we've developed. That's the mobile version of it, called Swift. And you can see some areas are more threatened than others. We've built this system to work across platforms. So whether you're on a cloud, a laptop, or even mobile, we have sort of different versions of the software that scale depending on how many resources you have available. We also have a fairly good-sized effort in cyber. We're working with the Department of Homeland Security, protecting the .gov domain. The top right is a picture of one of our analytics that does time series analysis and multi-infusion, so bringing data sources together. This particular one is developed for a consumer electronics company to help them better understand the marketing data that they're receiving and purchasing from various agencies. And we're actually building an analytic into that right now that will help them predict their profit given a proposed promotion. The bottom left is to represent some of the healthcare projects. We're beginning to work in healthcare and identify analytics, both streaming analytics and sort of surveillance analytics that help monitor and patient conditions all the way through, how disease transmits through a hospital. The middle one represents some of our logistics capability. In this case, that's the Hong Kong International Terminal. We built a tool to optimize the crane utilization for them, and it was actually able to improve their utilization of their cranes, or their throughput of their facility by 8 to 10%, which in their case was pure profit because they had ships just lining up waiting to get in. And then the bottom right is a representation of GeoMesa, so I'll get more into that in just a moment. As a company, we love using open source tools, and this is a graphic we put together. Originally, I set out to just put together a graphic of all the tools we use, and at the end of the day, we looked at it and we realized there wasn't a single closed source solution up here. And it wasn't so much that we were just looking for the open source ones. This is pretty much the vast majority of what we spend our time writing in and working with. So we're big users of open source, and we're very pleased to be able to have a contribution back to this community and to work within this community to develop new open source technologies. So that brings me obviously to GeoMesa. Going back to my story, we get to Accumulo, and there's no spatial temporals, there's no post-GIS, and so we really don't have any support for a lot of the data that we're working with. And in fact, the Army Cloud that we were working with was primarily focused on text analytics. So they really weren't tuned into a lot of the intricacies of spatial data. So we implemented GeoMesa to basically become the equivalent of PostGIS to Postgres for Accumulo. So what it entails is two pieces. GeoMesa sits on top of Accumulo, and it is an indexing structure. So we shard the data across the cloud, and one of the unique aspects of our indexing strategy is that it evenly spreads the data across the cloud, regardless of how the data are distributed in space and time. And this is good because that makes sure that you get full utilization of your entire cloud. You invoke a lot of parallelism, and you don't end up with hotspots where, if all your data is in Washington, D.C., they all end up on one server in the cloud. That doesn't happen with GeoMesa. And then the other piece of GeoMesa is a plugin to GeoServer. And so when you look inside GeoServer, the GeoMesa repositories look just like any other data source. And the advantages are we've implemented all the GeoTools interfaces. We support ECQL, and of course we can provide data through GeoServer using WMS, WFS, and all that sort of basic standard approaches. We're actually adding to this now. I'm hoping to get under contract to build WCS support as well. So we're very excited about how this has been going. We have a fair bit of adoption within the military. We're working with the Army, who's adopted it, and the Navy, who's adopting it, and then there's some other partners of ours that have started using the tool as well. So it's beginning to get some traction, and it's very regularly I'm hearing about somebody else who's looked at it or used it. In fact, I've had job applicants coming to me saying they've been playing around with it as well. So it's definitely beginning to get some traction in the community. And this was just sort of another slide that we wanted to represent. We can actually now include GeoMesa as part of an open source big data analytics tool. So if for visualization purposes, you can pull data from GeoMesa into GeoServer and do any of the visualization pieces, or you can access it through Spark and then push the data out and visualize it through R and invoke the R scripts through Spark. There's lots of different ways to integrate it in, and again, we've stuck with all of the OGC standards, so there aren't any surprises for the developers. The other aspect of this that I'd like to point out is that we are beginning to develop lots of WPS capabilities. So we're wrapping a lot of our analytics as WPS, and so users can evoke those processing services and get analytical results as well. And it keeps a lot of the operations down at the data layer, which is very helpful. That bottom right graphic shows the distributed raster computation, so we can do densities, by leveraging the distributed computation across the cloud as well. That's one of those services. The last point that I'll make is that we've partnered also with Boundless because we wanted to make sure that there was a paid support offering, and this actually turns out to be very helpful. A lot of the military customers that we've talked to are only interested in open source technologies that have subscription support. So this has been very advantageous. To be able to say that we're offering this support package. And that's all that I prepared for today. I'd be So I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks very much, Jamie. Really appreciate you joining us today and telling us about your company and GeoMesa.
Yeah,
So
no
I'm just
problem.
going to switch back to our next speaker, my colleague Wayne Beaton. There we go. It's all yours, Wayne.
All right, great. Thank you, Andrew. I'm used to kind of being the last after a long list of speakers, so I've gotten used to making very concise slides because I'm usually between you and lunch. But anyway, so this should be quick. The simultaneous release, of course, we are in the throes of the SR1 for Luna, but we're also ramping up for Mars. At this point, I have 46 projects that have opted in already to participate in the Mars release next June. That's June of 2015. That's 43 of the existing projects, the 76 projects from last year have already opted in. And in addition, we've added 3 new projects, SWT Bot, the new RCP testing tool, and the EFX Eclipse project, which provides some pretty cool JavaFX support for Eclipse in terms of development, and actually they're doing some work on making pieces of Eclipse actually run on JavaFX. The opt-in date for Mars is M4, which is usually about December 20th. I can't remember the exact date for this year, but it's on or about that. So Eclipse projects that are planning to participate in Mars, get your act together. If you go to the URL that I have on this page, projects.eclipse.org/releases/Mars, you'll get a little bit of help. In the wiki.eclipse.org/M Mars is the landing page for projects that are participating. That will include things like the rules for how you actually get yourself onto the simultaneous release. Really, that's a matter of creating a release record in your project metadata, and then informing the cross-project community of that release and your participation. Anyway, there's plenty of examples in the cross-projects dev issues mailing list. I strongly recommend that every Eclipse committer, well, maybe not every Eclipse committer, but every project have at least 1 or 2 committers that follow that list. It's a very valuable resource. In addition to being for the simultaneous release, it's a great way of making sure you stay in contact with what other projects are doing. We had, frankly, a huge quarter with regard to proposals. Mike's actually already talked about a lot of these. I'm not really prepared to talk in depth about too many of them. Honestly, one of them kind of, I love all of our projects equally, but one of them jumps out at me because, frankly, I get a lot of email asking me questions about the Android tools that I'm not able to answer. And frankly, I'm excited at the prospect of the Proteus Android tooling project, which intends to fork the Android development tools project at Eclipse and sort of bring that to Eclipse and give it some first-class love. I'm excited at the prospect of being able to point people to an Eclipse project instead of telling them to go and figure out how to communicate with the Android community for help. Anyway, so that's pretty exciting for me and hopefully for everybody else. Again, I think Mike talked about the PolarSys and Location Tech proposals, so I won't go on about those either. But we've got, I guess the takeaway is that we do have a healthy input or flow of new projects coming to Eclipse. People are finding value with us, and we find that pretty exciting. And of course, it's always fun to work with new people and explore new technologies and new things. Just some gentle reminders for those of you that are committers or project leads. Please do keep your project metadata up to date. This is a resource that we use to help people understand your project, so the more correct it is, the better. Certainly keeping your description up to date, factually correct and grammatically correct are important aspects of that. I actually do try to make fixes when I find problems. I try to fix them where I can, but it's good to be vigilant on that. Please make sure that release dates are correct in your project metadata. I know that a lot of projects do future planning, and that's fantastic. But do make sure that you revisit your metadata occasionally to make sure that the release dates you set are realistic and being met. We have been trying to contact projects as release dates they've declared in the future approach. And it's actually a little disturbing how often they're surprised that we're contacting them about a review. Anyway, again, the takeaway is please keep that metadata as up to date as possible. There's also some great useful fields in there to tell people how to contact you as a project, and information about how to do builds, where to find source code repositories. So these are great resources that the community expects you to provide, and it's a great way to help people find out about your project and then of course participate. Remember as well that reviews are required for all major and minor releases. We allow service releases. You don't need to do a review. IP log checks are also required. Please keep in mind too that you are required as Eclipse committers to keep your intellectual property information current. It's not. It's considered bad form. In fact, it's a violation of our rules to scramble at the end to get CQs for third-party libraries, for example, that you've used. Make sure that those are current. Before you use any third-party library, make sure that you have approval from the IP team to do so. The webmaster would always likes us to remind projects to clean up their downloads area. So please do that. Contributions by non-committers require a CLA. Don't forget that. That's important stuff. And of course, if you're having trouble, have questions, don't remain silent. Don't wait till it becomes a frustration. Don't wait till it becomes a problem. Contact your project leads for incubating projects, your mentors. Your PMC is a good source of information, and all that failing, you can contact emo@eclipse.org, and I will answer your question as quickly as I can. This actually is, I didn't even change these slides from last time. I just wanted to make sure that everyone is aware of this work that's going on with the project metrics dashboard. We've engaged in a new effort, or well, I guess it's an ongoing effort at this point, to replace the old and broken homegrown dashboard with a dashboard based on metrics grimoire. It's pretty fantastic technology, actually. We've managed with this to expand beyond just source code management tracking, and we track, in addition to Git, we also track reviews and through Garrett, issues through Bugzilla, and mailing lists. We have designs on tracking other aspects like forums and things like that, but those are future considerations at this point. We do track contributions around committers, individual projects. We have contributions by company affiliation, so that'd be a committer is affiliated with a company, so we're able to associate individual commits or individual Bugzilla comments, that sort of thing, with an organization. So that's all very fascinating and certainly useful information for us, and I hope that others in the community find this information useful. Just finishing off my presentation with just a couple of screenshots. This is a summary slide from the new dashboard showing different aspects, tickets. Honestly, I've never liked the word ticket being used to describe an issue or a bug, but apparently that's something other people like, so we call them tickets in the dashboard. Unfortunately, it's not entirely up to me. Then, so again, we're showing just some code developers, so activity in the Git repo, activities in the Bugzilla, and then activity in the mailing list here. And just a sort of a random screenshot from the metrics. Here's an example of of companies. One of the things that we've done actually in response to this particular picture is we've we've made versions of the dashboard that work on 1 year and 5 year increments. The large bar by our largest contributor makes the other bars almost meaningless, so by shortening the time frame, that gives us a better idea of activeness, current activeness of the project, and I think is fair to everybody. Of course, the full data set is available as well, so this view, as you see it here, is always going to be available. Final slide, or final picture I have is just, again, another random shot from a random page. This is a summary of just the Git repository, so different repositories, the number of different authors, a number of different files. These are useful information. This is useful information to kind of get a sense for the liveliness of a project. A project with a single committer may not be as active or considered as lively as a project with multiple committers, and you can get a sense for that with this chart. I'm going to just back up actually and just show the URLs again. Dashboard.eclipse.org is our entry point, and we also have, you'll see 2 more URLs for the PolarSys and Location Tech versions of the dashboard. I think actually I'm going to open above, because I don't have this open yet. Those URLs need to be more easily accessed. So I'll open above for shorter versions of the URLs. Anyway, with that, I'm done, and I will turn it back to Andrew.
Okay, thank you very much, Wayne. So now is the question and answer part of the meeting. There's a bunch of different ways to ask questions. If you want to ask them on Twitter, go ahead. Use the Eclipse hashtag. You can also ask them in IRC. So you can ask them in the #Eclipse IRC channel if you want. You can email them to me if you want. You can email andrew.ross@eclipse.org. I'm happy to take your question and relay it to any of our speakers. If you have any other way that can get my attention, you're welcome to do that too. So I'm just going to step away from the keyboard for about 30 seconds and just to see if any questions came in any of those three channels or anything obvious that I can notice, and I'll be right back. So pardon the awkward silence.
Don't see anything on Twitter.
See that. Nothing on Twitter, on IRC. Okay, email. Okay, so I don't see anything on Twitter, the Eclipse hashtag, or in the Eclipse IRC channel, or in my email. There's one other way you can ask questions, and this may be for a lot of the folks who watch the video after the fact. You can comment on the video in YouTube, or you can comment on the event page. So that'll get my attention, and we're happy to take any questions after the fact. So I'd like to thank our speakers one more time, to Mike, and to Jamie, and to Wayne. And thank you to each of you for giving up part of your day to attend this meeting. So thank you very much, everyone.